Hello everyone! Sorry about not posting any video yesterday. I was with my chess team. We were playing a chess match, and this is my game from yesterday. It's a very interesting game. I had the black pieces, and I was really feeling great and wanted to attack. So let's see how that went. My opponent was white, and he played d4. Knight to f6, c4. I played g6, knight to c3, and bishop to g7. I decided to go for the King's Indian. Knight to f3, I castled, and my opponent played h3. I've never seen h3 played in this position before, so I didn't really think much about it. I was expecting e4, and then I would, continue with d6. But okay, he played h3, and now probably I should have gone for d5, as he did allow it by not playing e4. But I played d6, like I'm playing the normal King's Indian. Now he played e4, and I played knight to c6, kind of provoking d5. He played pawn to d5, and I went back, knight to g8, something I often play because, no one really managed to take advantage of this tempo as of yet. My opponent played bishop to d3, and I played rook to e8, preparing to push my e-pawn. White castled, knight b to d7, and rook to b1. My opponent decided to get this rook away from a1 from this long bishop's diagonal, and also he's preparing to push b4 to play on the queen side. I played a5 to stop his expansion, and he played rook to e1. Now maybe preparing to push e5 himself at some point. So I played e6. He played bishop to e3, I played e captures on d5, c captures on d5, and here I played knight to h5. I always enjoy having my knight on h5 when playing the King's Indian. That way this bishop comes alive. I'm also controlling f4, and my idea is to exchange this knight by playing knight to e5, and then maybe put this bishop on e5, and then the bishop and the knight will be controlling f4. But okay, my opponent played queen to c2, which I didn't really think it was a good move. I thought maybe queen to d2 was better to try and, exchange the dark square bishop with bishop to h6 and maybe add some control to the f4 square. But okay, he played queen to c2. I played knight to e5 as planned. He captured, I played bishop captures on e5, and I really liked my position here. I'm really controlling f4, not allowing him to push f4 himself. Here my opponent played knight to b5, and this comes with a threat of knight captures on c7, obviously, forking both of my rooks. Here I do have a couple of options. For example, I can protect it with rook to e7. I can even push c5 maybe. For example, if he plays d captures on c6 en passant, I can sacrifice a pawn here and gain some activity, threatening bishop to d7, and after he retreats with the queen, here I have options of bishop to b7, bishop to a6, bishop to e6, maybe even if I feel like it I can sacrifice an h3. But I didn't do any of this. I decided to play, an interesting move. I played queen to h4, immediately going for the attack, and inviting him to capture the pawn on c7. And if he captured the pawn on c7, I would capture the pawn on h3 with my bishop, and depends on what he plays. If he plays g captures on h3, I would have played a rook a to c8, now pinning his knight, and his queen would be stuck defending that knight, and I like my position here. And if he didn't capture it, for example, if after bishop captures on h3 he decided to grab the rook, then I would have played something like bishop to g4, now threatening all sorts of ideas, and after, for example, g3, knight captures, f captures, and bishop captures, again, I like my position here. For example, queen to g2, I have bishop to h3, queen f3, now capture the knight. White is better here, I mean, by the engine, but it's a complicated position. The white king is, wide open. I would enjoy playing this. But after I played this queen to h4 move, my opponent didn't grab the c7 pawn. He played king to f1. with the idea that, well, after I sacrifice the bishop, he has this e2 square as an escape route for his king. And I didn't really expect this move, and this really came as a shock. I mean, I thought knight captures on c7 was definitely gonna happen. But okay, he played king to f1, and here is probably where I could have played a better move. For example, bishop to d7, and well, black is okay. For example, rook to e7, protecting c7 would also be fine. If he captures with the knight, I can pin it with the other rook. Well, a lot of moves would be okay here. Bishop to f4 would be a perfectly good move. But as my opponent really surprised me with this king to f1 move, I really, tried to calculate something out, and I played a tall move, or so I thought. Not bishop captures on h3. I played a really weird move. I played bishop to h2. Now, not allowing his king any retreat on g1, and again inviting him to capture on c7. With ideas, well, probably if he captures, I will sacrifice my bishop and then begin some sort of a king hunt. And in this position, my opponent actually offered me a draw, which I declined. I really liked my position, really liked, well, it was a very, very intensive gameplay. So he did. He captured knight captures on c7, and I played bishop captures on h3. And here I thought he would capture g captures on h3, and if he did that, I would play rook 8 to c8 again, pinning the knight, and again, I like my chances here. But after I played bishop captures on h3, he didn't capture the bishop. He immediately captured my rook on e8. He played knight captures on e8. And, well, again, this move also came as a shock to me, because I thought that he had to grab the bishop, because, I mean, there's simply too much attackers on the king's side. I thought this would be winning for sure. And, well, I thought about a lot of things here. For example, I thought about queen to g4. Now, after queen g4, I'm threatening bishop captures on g2 with checkmate. But the problem is, after g captures on h3, I have to play queen to f3, not allowing him to escape with king to e2. And, well, I thought that this was an okay position. For example, he can't really kick my queen away from there. If he plays something like bishop to e2, he gets queen to h1 with checkmate. But the problem is, in this position, he has this, well, a very nice resource of playing rook e to c1, now making an escape route for his king with king to e1. And I don't really have anything here. I can grab the knight, and, well, this king is running, but he's running to safety, so white would be perfectly okay here. So after he played knight captures on e8, I didn't play queen to g4, I played bishop to g4. Now, well, with ideas of moving this bishop, and of course checkmating my opponent with queen to h1, as now this bishop is stopping the king from escaping with the e2 move. And, well, he can play something like g3, because queen to h3 is checkmate, and also he can't really play f3, he gets knight to g3 with check, king to f2, and now his king is stuck on f2, he can't really go anywhere. I simply capture the knight on e8, and, well, he can't really capture my bishop here. If he captures it, he gets queen to f6 check, bishop f4 only move, and queen captures on f4 with checkmate. So after this bishop to g4 move, he didn't play g3 or f3, he found the best move. He played bishop to e2, and, well, here my troubles start. It's not that easy to find a move for black now, or how to continue this attack. Probably, well, I considered a lot of things. Well, for example, I don't know, bishop to d7, so, if he captures my knight on h5, I will recapture, and then I have this bishop to b5 check, maybe. But none of these moves really led to anything, so I simply recaptured on e8, captured this knight. He played bishop captures on g4, and I played queen captures on g4. And here he played bishop to h6. Well, not allowing my rook to get into the game, because, well, my last rank would be really weak. If my queen ever moves, he would checkmate me, for example, with queen to c8. Well, in this position I played rook to c8, and this wasn't a very good move. I I thought I had something here, but the better move would be to play bishop to f4 immediately, force him to trade the strong bishop on h6, and after bishop captures, knight captures on f4, I would be threatening checkmate on g2, and after a move like f3, now the queen is defending g2, play queen to h4, now threatening queen h1 check, and then after king moves to f2, capture on g2, and well, he would have to defend with queen to f2, and I could capture, king captures, and now knight d3, forking the king and the rook. The king moves, I grab the rook, rook captures, and well, the material is equal, his pawn structure is a bit better, but you know, this game is continue, you know, we're still playing this game, nothing is over. But after bishop to h6, I played rook to c8. I had an idea which proved to be faulty. He played queen to d3, and here I played bishop to f4. Now I thought that after this bishop is exchanged, I will somehow be able to bring my rook into the game with rook to c2. He played bishop captures on f4, and now the problem is, well, if I capture, knight captures on f4, he would have this queen to f3 move, and after queen to h4, he does have g3. A queen to h3 check, and king to g1, and here I have no way to continue the attack. My knight is attacked, I have to move it somewhere, only place I can move it to is h5, and after he plays rook b to c1, my attack is completely over. So, after he played bishop captures on f4, I played queen captures on f4, wasn't really satisfied with this, but you know, what are you gonna do? I had one more option of actually playing queen captures on g2 with check, and now after he captures, I can capture the bishop with check, and now after he moves the king, grab the queen, and after a move like rook to e3 and knight e5, he would be up the exchange, but at least I would grab a pawn, so even this was better than what I played, but I wanted to keep the queens on the board as well. I thought this was my only option. So after bishop captures on f4, I played queen captures on f4. He played queen to e3, and here I don't really have a lot of options here. Maybe the best move was queen to e8. I played queen to h2. My idea, well, now that I would like to play knight to f4 here, but I was in time trouble. I didn't really have time to see my opponent's next move. He played queen to h3, and now I have to exchange queens. If I don't, he grabs the rook on c8. Yeah, so much for that rook to c8 idea. So I grabbed the queen, he played g captures on h3, and after knight to f4, he played rook c1. I, of course, don't want to exchange rooks. I played rook to e8, and after rook to c7, both of us have 6 pawns, but he is up the exchange, and in the end, he managed to win this, this ending. So yeah. That's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it, and well, I'm sure there's some sort of a lesson to learn from this game. You know, don't play a tall move for no reason, or if you're not really gaining anything. And well, I did have a couple of chances to get back into the game, but I just wanted to continue my attack, and in the end, this was my downfall. So yeah, I do hope you enjoyed it. Again, sorry about not posting any videos yesterday, I was really busy. I would like to thank Robert Tausworte, Hannaford Hands for Hire, Martin Wilbur, Clay Wardell, and Tony Moe at Guitar for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon.